How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the Heel Deal podcast with your host, Ben.
And Zach.
And it's been a couple weeks, but we got some good stuff for you guys this week. The biggest news with the NCAA tournament wrapping up. We had the UNC football spring game yesterday, so we can't wait to dive in with you guys. It might be a quicker episode because we don't have like a whole bunch to talk about besides that, but why don't we get right into it, Zach?
Sounds good, man.
So, for the rundown, I'm not going to go individual scores because it's been 2 weeks. You know, you guys have probably seen the scores if you're interested by now. So, I'll give you the standings. Baseball is 27-10 overall. They're number 21 in the country, sorry. So, they're having a pretty strong season. They had that Duke sweep, which was great, that we talked about last time. And they've been a fun team to watch. So, we'll see how they do in the latter half of the season. Men's lacrosse is 7-5 overall. Women's lacrosse 11-3 overall, and softball is 24-13 overall. So all our programs still over 500. Baseball is probably the most optimistic one at this point. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. So when we transition into the NCAA tournament, as you guys all know, Virginia managed to take a close, really entertaining game against Texas Tech. Were you expecting that game to be so fun?
No, I wasn't. No, that was so much fun. Overtime, everything. We could have even had double overtime as a possibility. But, yeah, it was a great Final Four, Ben. Got a lot of competitive games in there, especially the national championship. So, a lot of fun. Yeah,
no, and I just feel like both of those teams, they really deserved to be there. Virginia did deserve to win that. They really bounced back. That was almost like what the Tar Heels did between like 2016 2017, avenged their loss in the finals. But this time Virginia was avenging their loss in the first round,
making the worst history possible that you can in the tournament, losing to a 16. Yeah, no, it's a great story for them. You got to give them credit. You know, they used the fuel that they had from the previous year, losing to UNBC, to get them back here, and they had a better team this year than they had the year before then. So it wasn't all just emotion, but you got to give them credit. They had some tough times this season. They had to win some tough games. I think their last 3 games in the tournament, including the national championship, they were it was a 1-point game where they were even down 1 or 2 with just less than 10 seconds left, and it's like they won all of those games, and you're like, wow.
Yeah, no,
they just found a way to do it.
It was, I've been saying this the whole time, but there's a fair amount of luck that goes into this tournament, and the cards just fell right for Virginia, so that was great. And also, congrats to Texas Tech. You know, they hung in there. Never been to the Final Four, let alone the national championship. So I think it just wrapped up an entertaining basketball season. It was unfortunate that Tar Heels couldn't be in there, but we can't be there every year.
No, we can't. We've had our share of Final Fours recently, but yeah, congrats to Virginia. Glad to see an ACC team win. I know some people have some very different thoughts about that as far as when you're pulling for the conference or not, but I was glad to see the ACC get the championship. So
yeah, the only reservations I have for the national champion is if it's not going to be UNC, at least don't let it be Duke.
Yeah.
And
That's fair. Yeah, or State, or NC State.
Or NC State.
Which is
I don't think we really have to worry about that.
No, we don't. It's not the 80s anymore.
Yeah, exactly. So, man, just looking forward to next season. I still really hope we get Cole Anthony. There's still no word as of now on when he might announce.
I think most of the reporters are expecting it to be by the end of the month, but like you said, no one really knows except for him. He's drugged this out as long as he can because he wants to know exactly who's going to be on the roster at each respective team. So now that we know Kobe's gone and we know Nasir's gone, and
we got to talk about that because 2 weeks ago neither of them had declared.
Yeah, neither one of them had.
Yeah, so as you guys know, Nasir, he declared, which is what Zach and I were anticipating. I feel like most people were anticipating. But then Kobe declared too, which was sad for all the UNC fans because it was a realistic possibility that he could return.
Yeah.
But he saw his draft stock just skyrocket this season,
Right.
playing in Roy's system. So you can't blame him, and you just gotta wish him the best.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like we said, there was a foreseeable scenario where he did come back, but I didn't think it would happen. I was just kind of hopeful. I think like everyone else was, but I think it's honestly probably the best move for him to move on. He had a great year, and of course you come back, you risk injury, you risk
Yeah. When you're a for sure lottery pick,
Yeah.
you don't generally want to risk injury. But man, I still have dreams about him and Cole playing the 1 and the 2, but
Yeah.
I almost feel like it increases our likelihood of getting Cole Anthony.
Yeah, me
because
too.
now the point guard position is like completely empty right now. All we have is like 7th Woods, and then that 3-star recruit we have coming next year. I can't remember his name.
Unfortunately, I can't either. Yeah, I mean, I think the only negative to Kobe leaving, as far as the talk about Cole Anthony, is that Cole has made it very clear that he wants to go somewhere where we have like a very, very good chance of getting to the Final Four. And I'm not saying that if he comes, like, especially if he does come, I think our chances go way up, obviously. If he doesn't come, the chances go way down. But I think that if he looks at it and he sees Kobe leave, Nasir leave, Cam gone, Luke gone, Kenny gone, everybody pretty much gone, only one returning starter in Garrison Brooks, he could say, well, although we do have Armando coming and we do have me coming, is that going to be enough to get us there?
Yeah.
So he almost has to ask himself, can I get us there? I don't know. I mean, I haven't ever, actually asked him about this, obviously, but yeah, that would be the only thing I could see would be an issue.
Yeah, I mean, I can't see a scenario where the next time we have an episode of the Heel Deal, probably in next month, he'll have announced by then.
Oh yeah,
we'll be able,
know by then.
whether he goes to UNC or Oregon, which is like the other likely destination. We'll see.
I don't see him going anywhere else but here.
No, it's between here and Oregon, and I think everyone knows that. But we'll see, because I know he grew up in Portland, where his dad, Greg Anthony, played for the Trailblazers for a number of years, so he's familiar with the area. I know he wants to get familiar with winning, so that's why he ought to come here.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good wrap up to a good season, and I can't wait for next year, because I mean we started this podcast halfway through the season. We'll be able to go from the get go,
right?
And that'll be fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun talking basketball with you guys. We appreciate the support, so we're looking forward to next year too.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I know Zach's happy as we get into football season. He's a big football guy, and I too love football, so that'll be great to talk about.
Absolutely.
But yeah, speaking of football, why don't we get into the spring game? So UNC had their spring football game. Zach and I attended that yesterday, and pretty relaxed. Stopped raining, thank goodness.
Thank goodness.
And a lot of players had some good showings. So what were your overall impressions?
Well, overall impressions were that we had it was obviously a fun environment. It was good seeing the coaching staff, the way they're kind of going to run things. It was good seeing the new schemes for both offense and defense, and we'll talk about that. But really, that's what I wanted to see is how is this different? How are we going to approach just the game differently now that we have a completely new staff?
Yeah. So you thinking like Max trying to bring in like a brand new culture, just start everything from scratch?
Oh yeah. I mean, I definitely think so. I mean, we have it's pretty much new all the way around. We even have new like strength and conditioning coaches and stuff too. So it's a full cleaning house project that he came in here with, and I think that's what we needed. So yeah, I do.
Cool. So why don't we start with offense? Who stood out on offense to you?
Well, Sam Howell looked pretty good, and we were hoping he would. He had that deep bomb down the middle of the field on the post route that looked pretty good. I'd say
he bought some time with his feet on that play, which I thought was pretty great. I can't remember. It was either Jace or Cade Fortin, who they had one play where it was called off because it should have been a sack, but he took the snap and then just stood in the pocket. Like, he wasn't even bouncing around at all. Sam Howell had some movement around the pocket, which I thought was encouraging.
Yeah, for sure. And also, besides just Sam, and the other quarterbacks look good too. But I mean, obviously, him being the freshman and him being the standout recruit, he drew some eyes.
Yeah, it's also worth noting he was the first quarterback. He started the first drive.
He did. He was the first one we saw yesterday, and that first drive that they led down, it looked pretty good.
Yeah, I agree.
He had 2 quick plays to Daz Newsome. Daz looked really good. We didn't really get to see any special teams yesterday. That's something Mack talked about. Not having a lot of depth right now on the team in general, and especially on defense.
Yeah.
We weren't able to run any live special teams, so we didn't really get to see Daz punt return or anything like that. Like we know he can do very well.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's a lightning bolt, but at receiver he lined up in the slot a lot. He looked really good catching slants and stuff. So, and it's evident we're going to move fast, man. I mean, this is an air raid offense that Phil Longo's running. So that means we're going to run 3-4 wide, tight end split out, one back offense sometimes. Running back's going to catch the ball too, split out wide. It's going to be a lot of receivers, a lot of speed, and a lot of it being up to the quarterback to make the right decisions. So.
Yeah, if we can get or choose the right quarterback as our starter for this system, we could have a bounce back year. Last year it was just run on first down, run on second down, Nathan Elliott incomplete
screen.
pass, or some sort of wide receiver screen there. Like it was miserable. Our offense just played with absolutely no momentum or
it was
anything.
tough.
It was. Man, yeah, it was. Whew, it was a brutal season to get through. Like we were just not a good football program, but it might have been like a necessary evil in order to get this entirely new batch of coaches.
Yeah.
Hopefully, Max still got some of the talent that won him the national championship with Texas in 2006.
They won it, and they didn't actually win one. They went in 2000. Oh no, they won in 05. I'm sorry,
05,
it was 05.
Yeah.
You said 06. It got me thinking they didn't win that year. They won in 05. They went in 09 and lost. That's my fault. Yes, they did win one. That was Vince Young year. Anyway, sorry about that.
No, that's all good. So the quarterbacks as a whole played pretty well, as we talked about. Let me pull the stats up here. So Jace Ruder had a pretty great game. He went 5 for 7 for 143 yards. More than half those yards came on a 77-yard catch by Carl Tucker. A lot of it was yards after the catch, so still a good play, still a great throw. Those inflated his numbers a little bit. Sam Howell went 10 for 16 for 131 yards. He had one interception that we didn't actually see. We were walking around somewhere. But apparently it went off the hands of a receiver and then was picked. So maybe not necessarily Howell's fault. So still like a strong showing. And then Cade Fortin went 2 for 6 for 39 yards. Didn't do too much. He didn't get too much time.
Right.
Only 6 throws. But yeah, it seemed to me like our offense was really dictating the flow of the game. Like our defense doesn't match up well against our offense.
Yeah, that's what we were kind of saying, and this kind of transitions right into the analysis of what we saw defensively yesterday, Ben, is that we were running a lot of 3-4 defense, and that's what the base is going to be in this Jay Bateman defense, is a 3-4 base, and that, naturally with 3-4 you see, you don't always see one high safety with 3-4, but we saw a lot of that yesterday, and I don't know if that's because we have lack of depth in the defensive backfield right now.
Where we don't have a viable number 2 safety right now?
Or that we're thin on numbers in general.
Yeah.
And then we just have to, adjust it where we get our best players healthy on the field, you know.
And you guys have to keep in mind, a large portion of the freshman class is not enrolled in school yet.
Very true.
So we obviously are missing a portion of the team.
And Miles Dorn wasn't playing yesterday either, and we're pretty confident he's going to be a starter next year. He was a starter last year and a starter year before that, so he's going to start at safety. But he just wasn't active yesterday, so that's a big one. But yeah, defensively, you're right. The offense kind of dominated the scrimmage yesterday, both running the ball and passing the ball. You saw the quarterbacks take a lot of shots on the sideline because of the one high safety looks, and I kept calling. I was like, all right, we're going to have to go deep here because they're not, the safety's not going to get there. And the quarterbacks were a little bit off with those passes, and Mack talked about afterwards how we got to win some of those 50-50 balls on offense.
Yeah.
Patrice Renee, the corner, I guarantee you will be our number 1 corner all year. He played really good. He made some good plays on the balls, but the receivers have got to come down with some of those.
I'm just hoping we have the receivers that can do that, because really only Ratliff Williams was the guy who could actually make those contested catches, and of course he declared early for the draft.
Right.
So hopefully, maybe like Newsom or someone can step up and be that number one wide receiver.
Yeah, Bo Corrales is good too, man. And he's big. And I think with this offense as well, Carl Tucker will get a chance to split out wide some too. I'll bring up an analogy real quick just to kind of make everything make more sense about what I'm trying to say. If you've ever watched the Patriots, you see them split Rob Gronkowski out at receiver all the way at the sideline sometimes as a way of just trying to get somebody who's not comfortable with guarding of that size out there all the time.
Like get a smaller outside
I
quarterback.
could see us moving Carl or one of the other tight ends out there like that, just when we're rushing, just to maybe get them to where they can't sub out, where we've got a mismatch in size on the outside. So
but I mean, like, if we don't have the pure athleticism in our receiving core, then like they have to scheme some catches. It comes down to our offensive scheme, whether we can run some creative things that'll get people open in space.
True.
We don't necessarily need like 5 Megatrons out wide, like just going up and catching everything. So that goes down to the coaching staff and our new offensive coordinator. See how his air raid offense translates into our team.
Yeah, and I think the running backs too, Ben, in this offense are going to be crucial in the passing game. We've got a stable of running backs that are really good. So Javonte Williams is a guy Mack mentioned yesterday that didn't get a lot of time last year, but I think he was a true freshman last year, so he's young, and he got a lot of time yesterday. Now Michael Carter did not play yesterday, but he'll get some time. We know that he got a lot of time last year. And, of course, Jordan Brown is no longer with the team. But, Javonte and Michael both will get involved in both the running game and passing game. And Antonio Williams, the other running back we got from Ohio State that played his first season here last year, I don't know if he'll get as involved with the passing game just because of his style. Yeah. But he'll be in there. And my point of
he's more of like a between-the-tackles kind of guy anyway.
Very true. But the reason I bring all that up is that, to your point about not having necessarily a bunch of receivers right now that we, think about that we can count on in those situations, having the running backs be helpful in the passing game can really kind of neutralize some of that.
Yeah, exactly.
It can really help. You see a lot of teams are successful throwing the ball to the running backs in the NFL and in college. So I think that we could be one that does that. And it's a good safety net to have for the quarterbacks too.
Yeah. So I mean, we touched on Sam Howell, but were there any other like early enrolled freshmen for next year that looked good?
Storm Duck, the corner, he looked really good, and I think, and this is going to be a chance for him to really. I think he could be a starter, and I wouldn't have said that if KJ Sales had not decided to transfer. Yeah. Because I thought coming in we were going to have KJ and Patrice be the two starting corners, and Patrice is definitely going to be a starting corner. I could tell you that just from seeing the first drive yesterday. But Storm played really well. It was I think it was in the technically the second half of the scrimmage when the offense fumbled, and he just scooped it and then
took it back 44 yards,
beat the whole team down the field. I mean, like Max said in the interview yesterday, this is a high school senior beating the whole team down the field. Yeah. So I mean, I think he stood out. I think he's going to be a feisty guy. I think he's going to do a lot for us in the run game and the pass game. He's not going to. He may be a little bit undersized, but there's been a lot of corners that have been successful undersized because they can get up and they'll fight for position.
Yeah, they just got to be feisty and make up for it with just that hustle. But yeah, he was just a 3-star recruit, likely going to be put into a starting role. So we're just going to have to hope that this secondary can come together because this is going to be a trial by fire. We got Clemson this year. Oh, no. Oh, man, if we play one high safety, man.
Oh, yeah, Trevor Lawrence will go for 500 if we line up the same way we did yesterday. But that, of course, I mean, and I'm take that with a grain of salt because, I mean, we weren't healthy yesterday. It was a spring
It was
game.
Also a spring game.
We're very far from being in form yet. I mean, we're just going off what we saw yesterday. So I'm not saying that we're going to get shredded.
Yeah, so you got the freshmen coming in. You got guys coming back from injury.
True.
You got all of like the conditioning that comes in like the summer and the fall. Right. This team is nowhere near close to what it's going to be by the time we play our first game.
Absolutely not. No, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, no, very, very good.
Yeah, but I mean, defensively, I mean, we did see some good things too. Like you said, we saw Storm Duck play well. We know that there's more to come there. We got guys coming in. And another thing I want to mention offensively that we didn't mention when we were talking about receivers, Emory Simmons, The other freshman that we have, he's number 14, or at least he was wearing 14 yesterday. He's a big guy.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize how tall he was until I saw him yesterday down on the field. I think he's like 6'4".
Wow.
And if we could develop him, he could be a serious deep threat.
Yeah.
A lot like what Quinshad Davis was for us a couple years back and stuff like that, or Buck Howard, another guy we had that was just a deep threat problem, or Mac Hollins even, who plays for the Eagles now. But anyway, I think he could be a type of guy like that could really create some matchup issues. He's just young, so it'll take him some time.
Yeah, exactly. But like you said, take this all with a grain of salt. This is the spring game. It's not, looking at these results, it's hard sometimes to tell, like, whether your offense was really good or whether your defense wasn't good or vice versa. It's more just good to see guys on the football field, see who's playing where, who's playing what.
Yeah.
So it's exciting. It's an exciting time. But
we know very little right now.
Mm-hmm.
But one more note on the defense before we move on, Ben, is I just wanted to say, Mac mentioned this yesterday, a lot of what this defense and offense are going to be doing is deception-based.
Yeah.
We're going to move a lot of guys around. We're going to send pressure from a lot of different places. I think he even said exactly word for word yesterday, Jay Bateman, the defense coordinator, sends somebody extra from somewhere every play.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a play that he's ever seen in practice where there's not somebody coming from someplace.
Yeah.
So that's good for our defense, but it's also good that our offense is practicing against that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, that just stresses communication between the offensive line. Because, like,
Exactly.
This doesn't mean that we're blitzing 5 guys every time. It means, like, we might be blitzing or we might be rushing our normal 3 players, and then maybe an offensive lineman is the 4th rusher. Mm-hmm. Maybe a safety comes in. Maybe we have a corner come in. Mm-hmm. If the defense doesn't know where this 4th guy is coming in, 4th or 5th guy, then that, is going to cause some issues. Offensive linemen have to shift over. That can create holes.
Yeah.
So not only is it good for us to practice against, but it should give other teams some fits, and hopefully we can come up with some good sacks.
I agree. Yep, I definitely am looking forward to it, man.
Yeah, so we'll keep you guys updated with everything football and, like, really dive into stuff in the fall, like, once school picks back up.
Yeah.
But, going into that, we touched on this the last episode 2 weeks ago, but since it's pretty slow heading into the summer, basketball season's over, football season hasn't started, Zach and I are probably going to do a new episode every month as sort of like a recap. There should be enough stuff in an entire month to talk about. Next month we probably got Cole Anthony.
Yeah, we'll know for sure.
Yeah, maybe some football news. Hopefully some grad transfer news for the basketball team.
True. Yeah, that's a good point.
Which, we'll talk about that more, but we definitely need some grad transfers with 4 of our starters.
It would help. It would help, yes.
Exactly. So we'll probably post our next episode this time next month, the middle of May. Look how fast this year's going.
Yeah, so somewhere around that. And keep in mind, guys, Ben and I, we'll be in school together until May 7th is our last day, where we have an exam. Final exams are the first week of May for us. So after that, we'll be our separate ways until, a couple times throughout the summer, and then, of course, when we come back together in August. But but we'll keep you updated, like he said, once a month or so, and we'll just talk about, whatever there is to talk about.
Yeah. So if you guys have any questions or want to hear us talk about, like, anything in particular, make sure to shoot us a question on our Twitter account at Heel Deal Podcast.
Right.
And we look forward to talking everything UNC sports. So thank you guys for listening. As always,
guys, go to Hell Duke.
Go to Hell Duke.